Today, we're talking about psychedelics and Christianity. If you're a Christian and psychedelics has kind of come onto your radar, pardon me, but my screen is not giving me the best image right now. But let's say you're a Christian and psychedelics has come onto your radar. And you have heard that it helps with the mental health and it's, all these other wonderful things about it. You're asking yourself, does God approve of psychedelic use? Well, by the end of this video today, you will have a better idea of what psychedelics are, some of the challenges and dangers associated with them, but also the values and what they mean for Christians, what they mean for apex Christians, children of the Most High God. So let's get right into it. I'm going to first start off with the biblical basis for a Christian aversion to psychedelics. So generally, Christians avoid psychedelics generally because they are Schedule 1 drugs. Like they are actually scheduled in the United States as federally illegal. So they're legal. Different states have different little things that they do, like Colorado, Oregon, and California. Certainly the Bay Area, Santa Cruz, Oakland, have different ways that they deal with how people are prosecuted related to psychedelics, especially if they are considered plant medicines. We're going to get into that term later. Often different states, different regions, different places have different legalities around it. And so what mainstream Christians do generally is if the state decides that a substance is illegal or it's wrong or it shouldn't use it, they will go along with that. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's probably a wise course of action. However, the basis for a Christian aversion to psychedelics is a little bit faulty. It's like this. Now, I agree with most mainstream Christians that you probably shouldn't take psychedelics if you're a mainstream Christian. I 100% agree with that. However, this video today, I am going to share with you 5 reasons why, or actually 5 ways that you can safely explore these substances as a Christian that are biblically based. A lot of people that are Christians don't know that the Bible talks about psychedelics. Now, first of all, the word psychedelic wasn't invented really until like the 1960s or 70s. Okay, it just didn't exist in the lexicon, didn't exist in the English language, because that concept of psyche and delos, mind revealing, was really a Greek concept, and the Christians and the English-speaking Christians didn't really care about it. So I put all the Bible verses that talk about psychedelics in the description to this video. So if you want to look at the references for that, just look down there. By the way, there is no term in the Bible, in any of the translations of the Bible, that says psychedelics, okay? They're not going to use that. However, there are a couple of verses that I do want to highlight because Christians generally have used these verses as a reason to avoid psychedelics, and they've also said that psychedelics should be avoided. So first of all is Galatians 5:19 through 21. We got some activity in the chat. Hello to Hope Slays. Hello. And hello to Ray V2P. All right. So if we go to Galatians, it says here, actually, I'm just going to do Thessalonians. We'll do Galatians, Ephesians. All right, we're right into Galatians. All right, Galatians 5:19 through 21 is what a lot of Christians use to say, look, you shouldn't do psychedelics. All right, and so it says here, it's talking about liberty defined. All right, in this portion of Galatians 5. And at the end, it talks about what gets in the way of your freedom, in the way of your liberty. And it says the works of the flesh manifest, such as adultery, I'm skipping ahead, fornication, uncleanliness, lasciviousness, which is lust, libidinousness, sexual urges, just going with them. Idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strifes, seditions, heresies, envyings, murderings, drunkenness, that's the word that the Christians are concerned with, revelings and the like. But really here it is the word drunkenness that when you go to the Greek, it can apply to enchantments. And enchantments are just when a person would take various herbs, things like that, give them to you, you'd have these visions, and then they would say that the gods told you something. A lot of Christians in the early times just avoided that because it was a great way for someone to kind of like get into your mind and control you. They could tell you, oh, the gods told you to give me $2,000, right? And so the Christians were like, yeah, we got to avoid that. It makes sense, right? It's just intelligent. All right, Thessalonians 5 verse 6. talks about this. It says, therefore, let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. Most of the verses in the Bible are telling us to be sober. First Peter 4, verse 7 says the same thing. It says, but the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober and watch unto prayer. All the other verses are referring to sober, being sober, and avoiding anything that causes you to fall under an enchantment. Now, first and foremost, throughout Peter, it talks about enchantment. It's very easy to be deceived when you're under an enchantment. Now, an enchantment can apply to anything. It can apply to going to church and being hyped up emotionally. It can apply to going to a movie theater and watching a movie and getting hyped up in that way. It can apply to just about anything. All right. So enchantments, being drunken, all that stuff just means that you're not clear-minded. And as an apex Christian, the whole point of this journey and process is to be clear-minded, to have a mind that is clear so that you can discern successes, failures, problems, challenges, things like that, and get to the end, get to the other side of it. So that's what the Bible has to say about psychedelics. You want to have a clear mind. Now, if psychedelics impairs your ability to function in life, it causes you to go, woo, 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 I'm seeing the spirits and I'm seeing all this stuff, and oh, the plant medicine is good, then you need to stay away from it if you're an apex Christian. A lot of people, we're going to get into some of the stupidity in the psychedelic world. Look, I am definitely not against psychedelics. Okay, if you watch any of the other videos on my channel, you know that. Okay, but I do want to call attention to certain things, because when people come into the psychedelic world, I've spoken to people even recently, and they're like, oh, they're all on the psychedelic trip because they just had it for the first time. It's just like, oh, you're one of those. Um, there's a certain level of awareness that has to happen, and a lot of people just don't have that. So we got a lot of activity here. How are you? Hope Slays. I am doing well, Hope Slays. Thank you for joining. I got on a trip there, and I just got talking, and yeah, there's that. Okay, what's your favorite book in the Bible? My favorite book is the Gospel of John, because it speaks of Jesus in a way that is so enlightening, and it's very Neoplatonist in its structure. I just love it. So the Gospel of John is my favorite. I do love the book, but it's hard to pick. And by the way, that was an answer to Ray V2P. So yes, that's that. But anyway, all the verses that talk about psychedelics or enchantments or sobriety are listed in the description below. Make sure you check those out. Generally, what they are saying is avoid being under the spell of someone other than God, other than yourself. And they are saying remain sober. That just means be alert, and you can apply this to everything. All right, so let's get right into it. Overall, the Bible warns against enchantments, drunkenness, and lack of sobriety. Um, and that's just something that you want to do. As an apex Christian, you want to avoid vulnerability at all costs. You don't want to walk around in this world of challenges and issues and people trying to take your power completely open, completely vulnerable. I'll speak for myself. I've traveled around the world. Okay, so my psychedelic experiences I share here are pertaining to times when I was outside of when I was in places where it was legal. Let's put it that way. And in my psychedelic experiences, my field of awareness, of emotion, of spirituality was completely opened up. So I had to make sure that I was in a place where I was safe. I was with people that I was safe with, and that I was doing things that would not endanger or harm myself. Okay. And so that's just an intelligent approach. The Bible is encouraging that. But mainstream Christians are not going to do that. They're going to say, psychedelics are wrong according to the United States, Center, drug, whatever, not the FDA, but the drug controlling people in the United States are saying drugs are bad. And so we as Christians don't want to get piss off the government, because they're the big ones, not God, it's the government. And so we're going to just do what they say. And that's an approach that you can take if you're a mainstream Christian. But if you're an apex Christian, you know that God is the ultimate say. The source of life is the ultimate power. And so go for that. Don't get caught up with, this person, this. You've got to go with where your divine leadership is going. And again, that's not going to lead you into doing things that are going to harm you or incarcerate you or things like that. But it will potentially inspire you to make moves that will have you be a little more creative. Okay. All right. So that was a bit intellectual and heady, and the less intelligent people left. But thank you for whoever is staying. All right. So we're going to get into something a little more palatable for smaller minds, but I'll keep it high level so the intelligent people that have stayed will be able to get some sustenance from it. All right. So enchantments in the Bible are problematic. Why? Because, like all things, anytime that you give your power unto somebody else, you're running into a dependency. You're running into somewhere where, okay, I have 0 people. See, what's my favorite? I hate this when I get 0 people and I'm going on something I really love and it's really intelligent. And it's just like, okay, my viewership is not as smart as I thought it was. I always have to like change what I'm saying to a 5th grade level. And then people like watch the videos. It's like, I mean, do we have that? It was like, are most people that low brained? Like, is that most people that? I mean, are we in a world full of apes? Maybe we are. I find it frustrating because I really love this stuff, and I put the time into making it better. So anyway, let's go right into it. This is going to be posted later. The intelligent people will watch it later. All right. So Apex Humans, point 2. Enchantments are problematic. Like all things, anything that takes away your power, anything that gets in the way of you being able to be in charge of your experience is something that the Bible warns against. Okay? All right. So let's go over the problems. You know what? I'm going to shut this down.